we are talking about how to create polarity in your story so that you can magnetize your dream client. And if we're just meeting for the first time, my name is Jen Casey. I'm a business strategy coach, and I work with online coaches and entrepreneurs, many in the health and wellness field, who want to turn their social media into sales and really start reaching their ideal clients. So polarity, right? Let's dive into this. When you guys are sharing your stories, one important piece to really helping it pop, really making your message, you on social media stand out, is having a point of view, having a strong point of view. And what I mean by this is you look at the people who are kind of maybe in the health and wellness field, for example, and they might say something like, I help people get healthy. We're like, okay, but how? Like what is it that you do? Do you help people with the keto diet? Do you help people with intermittent fasting? Like what is your thing? And so it's really important that we start making it clear, not just for you, but for your audience, what is your thing? What is your point of view? Because there's going to be things that you believe in, and then there's going to be things that you're like, oh no, that's BS. That's baloney. I don't believe in it. I'm not into that. So we want to make that crystal clear. So a couple of examples with this, right? What I'm going to have you do in the assignment today is to literally take a piece of paper and write out, these are the things that you believe in on one side, and these are the things that are just BS. So you can call it baloney, you can call it whatever you want. These are the things that you don't believe in. A lot of this stuff might feel like, oh, this is like, I'm putting myself out there. This is a little taboo to be, telling a bunch of other health coaches that keto doesn't work. Like, who am I to say that? Well, if that's what you believe, you've got to be a little bit polar in the way that you're putting your content out there, because sometimes it's okay to stir the pot. You want to do it with integrity, but it's okay, and you kind of need to do that because you got to wake people up a little bit. So when you're looking at your social media message, we want to start with what is the problem that you solve, and what is the promise that you are putting out there, and what is the specific thing that you teach. So that's going to be on your belief, right? This is like, if you're a health coach, you're like, I believe that the keto diet is the thing. Like, that is the thing. It will work for everyone. Maybe that's what you believe. I don't know. And so you might send out an email like, are carbs making you fat? Here's the truth, right? Because we're getting people like, hold on, or maybe do a live video like that. If you are a business coach, you might talk about how Facebook ads don't work and how they're overpriced and how using your specific organic marketing strategies are the way to go. And then there's going to be another business coach that comes along that's like, you're wasting so much time trying to build an audience organically when you've got this beautiful thing of Facebook and Instagram ads sitting right here, right? So those are two opposite ends of the spectrum, two very differing opinions. Neither is right or wrong, but you want to take a stand on something. And to give you another example, if you look at the life coaching industry, there's so many different techniques within psychology and life coaching. There's a lot of schools of thought that say, talk therapy or talking through your problems and really uncovering why do you think you feel that way? And why do you think he said that to you? And really looking at all of the different angles, that's the way people want to approach working through their stuff. Whereas even right now, I'm taking an awesome NLP training, neuro-linguistic programming. It's kind of what Tony Robbins does. And it really teaches that the story itself isn't really the front and center. It's really what the person is saying underneath the story. What's the specific language that they're using? What's the sentence structure? What's really the little cues that you can take about it? And that's what you want to focus on when you're working with a client. So that's another school of thought. And then I have friends who do life coaching, and it's all about manifestation. It's all about spirituality. It's all about the woo-woo and using crystals and meditation and all of this stuff, right? So there can be a mixture of different things, but I want you to figure out, what is it that you believe in? And I remember even when I first started letting people know that I was into law of attraction and manifestation, I didn't talk about it on social media, even though I was reading all of these books, I was consuming all of these trainings, and I was even co-hosting a law of attraction meetup group that met every single week. And I wasn't talking about it on social media. And this was back when I was still a health and wellness coach, but I wasn't talking about this. I was keeping it totally separate. And I remember things kind of came to the forefront when I I remember my grandma, she had just had a really bad stint in the hospital. They had to put a pacemaker in. And I, at the time, had a broken ankle and I was on crutches, and she called me and she said, hey, where's your mom? I need to talk to your mom. And I was like, I don't know. I can call her, try to get in touch with her. And I could just tell something was wrong. And she wouldn't normally call me. So I ended up saying, like, I got to get over there. So my dad and I, we rushed over to her place. My mom was there. We all went inside, and she was like, I think I'm dying. I think I'm dying. I'm having a heart attack. I'm freaking out. And she was like 95 at the time. And I was like, Grandma, you're not dying. You have a pacemaker in. They just put a pacemaker in 3 days ago. You're not dying. Your heart's beating. You're going to be okay. And my mom and my aunt, bless them, they were amazing, amazing caregivers for her. But they also got really scared, and they started freaking out. Like, I don't know. What do we do? Do we call an ambulance? Do we do this? Do we do that? And that was just making my grandma more freaked out, more upset. Like, I'm not going back to the hospital. So, like, within all of this noise and all of this chaos and all of these differing opinions, I was like, I don't think that it has anything to do. I don't think it has anything to do with her physically. She's physically fine. It's psychologically. It's trauma from being in the hospital. She doesn't want to go back. She's starting to panic. And so I said, and I remember I looked over and I saw a copy of The Secret. There was a copy of The Secret that I guess my aunt had left there. And it was sitting on the table. And to me, that was my sign from the universe that I needed to step in, even if my mom and my aunt were going to be like, yeah, that's nice. We're going to call an ambulance. I was like, I need to step forward and take control of the situation as the youngest person in this room, because I just know that I'm being divinely guided right now to be able to support and help her. And so I said, guys, just stop for 1 second. I said, Grandma, when you are feeling like you're having a heart attack, what are you thinking about? And she said, well, I'm thinking about, and she started telling me all these horrible things, that she was thinking about being in the hospital and pressing the little button and nobody was coming to get her. And all of these things that she had previously experienced, recently, so they were very raw, very uncomfortable. And the mind, our imagination, it cannot tell the difference between real or imagined. The brain is going to give you all of those sensory things, whether or not it's happening. And so she started experiencing almost like a little little PTSD, started re-experiencing that trauma of being in the hospital. And so I said, Grandma, what I want you to do instead is when you start feeling this way, I want you to think about something that makes you really happy. What's something that you can think about? And she said, I'm going to think about your face. I get emotional. Woo, didn't expect that. So I'm going to think about your face. And I said, okay, that works. And that's what she did. And so by the end of, I think that day my mom this was in 2014, my mom ended up staying over with her, but she was fine. She was fine the rest of the night. And to me, I was like, wow, I was actually able to step forward and really help her in that moment, because I was able to stand firmly in my understanding of the situation and my beliefs about, using certain NLP techniques and the law of attraction, and being able to say what you focus on expands, what you think about you manifest. And so she was manifesting all of these things. And I said to her, I said, Grandma, you're not having a heart attack, you're hyperventilating. You're creating all of this anxiety in your body, and you're hyperventilating because you're feeling scared. So what I need you to do is breathe. And so a couple weeks later, we were all at my house for Thanksgiving, and my grandma came up to me, and I'm going to tell this really fast so that I don't get super emotional, because I don't know if I can get through it. And she said, come here, I need to give you something. And I was like, what's up? And she handed me $200. Handed me $200. And I was like, why are you giving me money? And she was like, I need you to know that the other day when you came over, you saved my life. Which is, I don't think that's true, but she felt that was true. She said, you saved my life. Because when I started feeling that way again, I heard your voice. When I started feeling that anxiety again, I heard your voice, and I heard you telling me to breathe, and then I thought about your face, and it went away. So to me, I was a freaking puddle. The both of us are sitting there sobbing. It was unbelievable. And that to me was such a beautiful reminder to always stand in my truth, to always have a little bit of polarity in knowing firmly that this is what I believe in. This is my truth. So this is what I'm encouraging you to do, right? There's going to be things that you come across that you believe in, and you might have that moment where you say to yourself, I feel like this can help somebody, but what if someone doesn't agree with it? And in that moment, I felt scared to share that with her. I felt scared to take that risk because my mom and my aunt are both, trained social workers. That's what they do professionally. They're psychologists, they're therapists. And so for me to step forward and take control of an emotional situation, it was like, who the heck was I to do that? But I got the result. And I was able to help her. And I felt that nudge inside of me that said, you just need to speak your truth. And so as we go through this, and as you go through this homework today, I just want you to have that in mind, that don't be afraid to share your truth, because it's your truth. So if you are a life coach and you feel like spiritual manifestation is the way that you've been able to heal yourself and heal so many other people, right? It's not the only way to do it, but you've found your system. You figured out your way of doing it. And so who are you not to share it? Who are you to hold that back from other people and not put that out in the world when it could potentially have someone coming to you saying, because you shared this, it saved my life, it changed my life, right? So just keep that in mind as you go through this. I've worked with people who are, fitness competitors who have been in health and wellness their whole lives. And they're like, I've been putting out, for the last 10 years that the way to feel amazing is to lift really heavy, or to, that I had this amazing life as a bikini fitness competitor. And so I wanted to share this because this is another thing where your story and your belief system might change. And so don't be afraid that other people are going to criticize you in terms of this. I had one client, one student, and she, amazing, beautiful physique, but she was having all of these health issues, and she was literally killing herself by continuing to lift heavy. And since she's been able to pivot and create a whole new business because that was no longer serving her. And so it's okay if you are really strongly polar in one thing to release that. I've worked with women who were in network marketing companies, and the network marketing company, the dynamic or the principles or the messaging, all of it has changed, and they no longer feel aligned with it. And they're like, well, how do I now come forward and tell people that I'm no longer with this company? That was my whole identity. How do I now become polar in a different way? I'm scared of what people are going to say. Are they going to think I'm a phony? They're not. We all change. We all grow as human beings. I had another client who was a bikini fitness competitor, and after doing 8 competitions in under 2 years, which is like redonkulous, which is so crazy to put your body through that, as she was going through multiple competitions, by like the 5th and 6th competition, her body wasn't responding in the same way. And so she admittedly started doing things that weren't as healthy. And so because of that, she ended up with really, really bad adrenal fatigue and a lot of other hormonal imbalances and health issues. And so for her to come forward and share that story on social media and share, and the other person to share the whole thing of like, I've been telling you guys to lift heavy for years and it's not working for me anymore. I've had so many women go through this struggle. And so I just want to let you know, this is kind of like number 2 is, your story can change. Your story is going to evolve. The things that you believe in might not be the things that you believed 6 months ago, and that's okay, right? So number 1 is really find your polarity, step into your truth, and just own what you believe to be true. Number 2 is be okay with evolving and changing over time. And one thing I do want to say is kind of number 3 is be okay with criticism, right? The more polar that you are, the more authentically you stand in your truth, the more you go one direction, there's going to be other people on the other side of that magnet. Think of it like a magnet, right? We got a North Pole and a South Pole. If you're kind of sitting in the middle, yeah, you're safe in the fact that no one's going to say you're a liar, I disagree with you, but you're also not really standing in your truth, and you're not truly able to help people at the level that you're able to help people. And I don't need to tell you, nobody needs to tell you you're not standing in your truth. You feel it in your gut when you're not 100% authentically you. There's just like a little twinge inside of like, oh, I know I'm not showing up at my highest level. So just keep that in mind. Pay attention to your body and your spirit. It's guiding you 100% of the time. You just got to listen to it. So, if people are criticizing you, I'm not trying to have you manifest this, but we got to talk about it, right? I think when you are talking about your side of the fence, what you believe to be true, if you are able to share story along with it, And like, for example, the person I was talking about who was the fitness competitor, did 8 competitions, ended up with adrenal fatigue. Instead of just saying fitness competitions can be unhealthy, and people who are fitness competitors going, I don't know what you're talking about. I am so healthy now that I'm a fitness competitor. I've never felt better in my life. If she shares her personal story along with that of her experience, who's going to come and attack her? Nobody. Nobody is going to tell her, oh, you're wrong, because it's her experience, right? It's what she personally went through to get to this place. And so when you're sharing your story with it, realize that you're helping to essentially prove or support your ideas, your side of the fence, your polarity. People are able to better understand your point of view through your experience and your beliefs. And people are more accepting, because they're not going to tell you, you can't be lying. You're not lying about your story. It's your experience. It's your story. And so you're able to invite people into seeing another way of looking at things if you're using story along with it. And, when it comes to polarity, I've seen other coaches teach polarity and use polarity. And one thing that I want to say that is one of my core beliefs is I don't like when people use like polarity for the sake of getting more clicks and views. For example, people will use things like clickbait. And, you see that a lot maybe on YouTube, where people will literally lie about what's inside to try to get people to click. So anytime, and listen, you run your business the way you want to run it, and people might be getting results, and that's fine. But I find that I feel a lot better when the things that I put out there are both integrity-based, and ecological. So based in integrity, it's like, I know that I'm doing right by people. I know that I'm being honest. I know that I'm running my business with integrity, right? And ecological, I know that the things that I'm putting out there are not harmful to myself or other people or the world or the environment, right? So those are things that are very important to me. I don't think that you need to be offensive to other people or put anyone down or bully anyone in order to be polar, which is some things that some people do and teach. So I'm just saying, that's just like a little quick sub note in terms of using polarity to stand out. Those are just 2 things that my teaching is very important to me. And I also, kind of wrapping up day 3, I want you to start thinking about when it comes to sharing story and having polarity, start paying attention to the things that are going viral, right? What are some things that you've been seeing recently within your industry that are going viral? And I can tell you 2, and these are 2 ladies who I love following, so I'm so excited to shout them out. And you may have even read or seen their stories or videos. One recently, Jenna Kutcher, who's an amazing, you could just tell she's an amazing human. She is an Instagrammer, she's a photographer, podcast host, and she talks a lot about body love. And there was a post that she made recently about how her husband is Mr. Sixpack, and how she's like, somebody inboxed and messaged her and said, how did somebody that looks like you get a guy like that, kind of thing. And she made this post about how he loves every curve and dimple and pimple and bump, and all of these news outlets picked it up. And so what she is doing is she's able to create that polarity of body love and talk about loving herself at every size and using story to share that. Instead of just saying, love yourself, she's saying, hey, this is a not so great thing that happened to me. This person inboxed me and criticized me and said this kind of mean thing to me. But she's posting about it publicly and sharing it with the world and showing people how to reframe that. And so that was a beautiful example. I'm sure you could just simply Google it and find that story, or you can go find her on Instagram and see it as well. And so there's some viral element to that as well, right? And there's some polarity to that. Another example is Nicole Walters. She's freaking hilarious if you don't know Nicole. She had 2 back-to-back videos, Facebook Live, I believe, that went viral. So I'll just share one of them. So she had gone to her daughter's school. Her daughter did not write her back for 3 days. And so her and her husband, they showed up at the college campus and were like, oh, no, you cannot dip for 3 days because I'm going to come to your school. I'm going to come to your school and I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to meet your friends. And she brought these flyers that said, like, do you see my daughter doing anything, like, basically bargaining with students, saying, like, if you see my daughter doing anything that she's not supposed to be doing, I will give you pizza if you report it to me. And she was like, listen, next time you don't call, these flyers go up all over campus. They go up everywhere. I'm gonna give out pizza and have kids help me hand them out. So very, very funny. But her whole polarity with that was like, this is how I parent. This is how I parent. This is how I'm going to show you I love you. And she talks about that throughout the video. It is so funny. She's just hysterical. Brilliant businesswoman as well. And so that's another great example. It went viral because it was funny, because it was polar in the way that she was showing up and sharing that story and kind of what she was doing. And so I want you guys to really start thinking about things that are happening in your life, things that have happened previously, and how can you take those things to establish your point of view, support your point of view. And it could be on parenting, on health, on business, on wellness, on spirituality. Find the things that you stand for, because this is truly what is going to help you stand out, help you make more sales, connect with more people, create more authenticity in your message, more clarity in your message. So that is what I have for you today. If you guys love this video and you want to share it with your friends, hit the share button. So thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for showing up in your brilliance and being amazing, amazing leaders and coaches. So I will see you inside the Facebook group. So I will talk to you guys soon, and I'll see you inside. Bye.